What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Fantasy Puck video. I'm your host, Mike, and today's video is going to be on the Week 8 must-add players video. This is going to be a good one, guys, so you're going to want to tune in for the entire video. Before we get in, guys, hop in the comment section below and let me know what your current record is so far. In the Fantasy Puck League last week, we had a first-place matchup between myself and Xbox Criminal, and I took the L. So let me know how your season has been going so far. We're striving for 150 likes in this video. You guys have been crushing it with the likes, so let's continue that awesome support moving forward. If you're not on the Discord, make sure you jump in there. We have hundreds of awesome hockey fans, and we're willing to answer all of your questions. For those looking to get access to the premium channels or a trade analyzer, which is extremely popular in season, head over to our Patreon. For my sport bettors in there looking to make some money while playing fantasy hockey, head over to Prize Picks. Link will be in the description below. Use code PUCK. And you get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Without further ado, let's jump into the Week 8 must-add players video. Starting this video off with players under 20% owned. My Leafs fans, I am so sorry. I know you guys are probably hurting right now. I know Chris is not feeling the best. Rasmus Sandin of the Toronto Maple Leafs becomes a must-add player with Morgan Rielly going on long-term IR. TJ Brody's out. They said he is currently behind on his timeline to return. This Leafs D-core is in absolute shambles right now, and Sandin is now a top pairing defenseman, and he is going to be power play 1 on that awesome Leafs top power play unit. So, in the first game with Rielly out, Sandin actually looked like he had a lot of confidence. He played 22 minutes and 23 seconds. You definitely want a defenseman playing 20 plus minutes, and not to mention that he is on the top power play unit. So, one of the craziest stats, and I want you guys to answer this honestly, how many hits do you think Sandin has this season? He has one of the best hit rates amongst defensemen at 8.59 hits per 60. I put the question marks there because I honestly couldn't believe it. 17th best hit rate amongst defensemen at a very tall 5'10", 185-pound defenseman. It is shocking to see those numbers. He has very respectable block rate as well at 3.54 blocks per 60. With Sandin, he doesn't really shoot the puck a lot, so he is very good in goals, assists, and power play point leagues. He is definitely a must-add right now in 12-plus team leagues. Moving on to the next player under 20% that I would be looking to add right now, Mark Giordano, again of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Same situation as Sandin. They're missing a bunch of their defensemen. Some of these guys are going to have to step up, and Giordano's definitely going to be one of those defensemen. He's averaging 20-plus minutes in each of his last 5 games. In the last game with Morgan Rielly hurt, he played 24 minutes and 43 seconds against the Devils, a season high for him. I was going to say career high, but it's crazy to think that he's 39 years old, and I'm actually recommending him as a player to add. By far the oldest player I'm going to recommend this season, but he is top pairing. He's getting some power play 2 minutes. The Leafs power play 2 isn't the best, but still he does have some upside there with the points being on the second power play unit. But he also plays a massive penalty kill role with the Leafs right now. He is averaging 7.42 blocks per 60, the 11th best block rate in the NHL. There are a lot of very good block defensemen likely available in your free agency, but Giordano does add some shot upside with 60 shot attempts in 21 games right now. There is some good peripherals there with Giordano. If you're looking for some supporting numbers, if you're lacking in blocks each week, you're lacking in shots, or you're just looking for some, deep league players to add, Mark Giordano is your guy at 17% owned over on Yahoo. Moving on now, I'm definitely late to the party on this call because we were super busy last week, didn't get the must-add players video out, but Owen Tippett of the Philadelphia Flyers looks like a completely new player in the last couple weeks. He's left wing and right wing eligible, something you really like when you're in position-specific leagues. Tippett was a massive part of that Giroux trade last year. He was moved over from Florida. Didn't really have a role there with how deep that team was last season, but he's instantly placed on line 1, power play 1. There is a ton of injuries across this Philadelphia Flyers lineup. I actually feel super bad for this team. I mean, they've missed Ryan Ellis the last 2 years after trading for him. Same thing with Couturier. Now Konechny's out, Lawton's out, JVR is out, Atkinson's out. They just have so many injuries. And guys like Owen Tippett are going to have to step up and try and play a bigger role with the Philadelphia Flyers. So he has some crazy stats over the last 10 games. He has a 23.57 individual Corsi 4, which is ranked 9th in the NHL. a very respectable 10.76 shot per 60 rate on a terrible Philly team that is being outshot like crazy every game right now. I literally just stopped the recording because I see that I have 60 shot attempts in 21 games for Tippett right now, which was taken over from the Giordano clip, but I'm not going to fix it because we are so deep into this conversation about Owen Tippett. He's averaging 19 plus minutes over the last 10 games, something you definitely want to see from your forwards. Very good shot rate, good opportunity, power play one. Definitely be looking to add Tippett in 12 plus team leagues. Finally, guys, the last player under 20% owned that is likely available in your deeper leagues, Noel Acciari of the St. Louis Blues, ex-Bruins legend for my Bruins fans here. Center and left wing eligible, the two most scarce forward positions. I think right wing is definitely the most full position. Just 5% owned over on Yahoo. I'm very high on this Blues team, even though they just took a beating last night from the Buffalo Sabres, a 6-2 loss. Sorry to my Jordan Binnington owners. I own them, and it wasn't very nice. But anyways, going back to Noel Acciari. Moved up to a top 9 role playing with Barbashev and Braden Shen. He is a hit and shot beast right now, 8.12 shots per 60 and 13.53 hits per 60. Very good hit rate. The 10th amongst forwards right now. And he is averaging over 60 minutes average time on ice over the last 5 games. The last 2 games, he's played over 17 minutes. So this Blues team looks to be spreading their ice time out quite a bit. Noel Acciari's been playing the body. He's been taking shots. He's actually been putting up some points recently. So in your deeper leagues, if you're looking for a guy to give you some peripherals, some hits, some shots, and potentially some points on this Blues third line, Noel Acciari is your guy. This Blues team is going to continue to have a strong rest of season, and you want to be owning some of these players if you don't already. Moving on now to my players that are 20+% owned. We have Nikita Zadorov of the Calgary Flames. At just 29% ownership, Zadorov is so good right now. He's moved into a top 4 role. They moved Chris Tanev down to the 3rd pairing. He's now playing with Mackenzie Weegar, who we know is an exceptional defensive defenseman, similar to Zadorov. So in your plus-minus leagues, these guys should be helping you out with those plus-minus stats. His minutes are on the rise significantly recently, up to 20 minutes and 44 seconds average time on ice, a plus 4-minute increase from last season. And he has a couple games over 25 minutes in his last 5. So you know, he's trending upwards. You want to be picking up guys when they are trending up. And Zadorov has been doing that recently. So he has very strong peripherals. You're not adding Nikita Zadorov, a 6'6" bruiser defenseman for goals and assists. He is at a 2.88 hit per game rate, 2.2 shots per game rate, and 0.9 blocks per game. Very healthy numbers for a top 4 defenseman at a lower ownership than most other players. Now, if you're in a league with PIMS, he's likely owned, but he does rank 12th for defenseman PIMS, and he is 10th for hits with 57 hits. So Zadorov is a beast in those banger leagues. He's likely available. He's likely owned in those leagues, but if he is available in your league, I'd be looking at Nikita Zadorov as soon as possible. Moving on now to another player that I'm definitely late to the party on, Michael Matheson of the Montreal Canadiens. I did have him as a deep league sleeper in the preseason, but I got shredded in the comments because he was injured going into the year, which I didn't know before I made that take. But he is now back from injury, moved up to first pairing, and he's on power play 1. I think any defenseman with this type of deployment, regardless of the team, is definitely worth rostering. And so far this season, in the first 3 games, he's averaging just under 24 minutes at 23:43, a plus 5-minute increase from 2021. Now, I do remember Matheson from last season, kind of a bottom pair defenseman on Pittsburgh. Didn't really get much power play time. He did have a very respectable 6.04 shots per 60 rate, 30th amongst defensemen, which I mean doesn't look glamorous from the outside in, but you got to remember that this guy was not playing a big offensive role on a team that needed defensive defensemen. But on the power play in 2021, and I looked at this number because he is now on the power play for Montreal, 11.5 shots per 60, was ranked 18th amongst defensemen. And so far this season, he's averaged 5.6 shot attempts per game in the first 3 games. Again, any defenseman that's playing a role this big, playing this many minutes, regardless of how good or how bad the team is, you definitely want to be rostering him. Michael Matheson of the Montreal Canadiens is worth rostering in 12-plus team leagues. Moving on now, I'm going to get shredded for pronouncing his name, but Pyotr Kochetkov. It's crazy because I went to look at his name like Pyotr, But if you actually go look on Hockey Reference, it says it's pronounced Peter. I haven't watched any of these Carolina Hurricanes games. I'm sorry, Smelly Mike, for that. But there's no definitive timeline right now on Anderson's return. And Ranta also has injury history. If you guys remember to the playoffs last season, Anderson got hurt, and then Ranta came in. Ranta got hurt, and then Kochetkov came in during that Boston Bruins series. He is a very highly touted goaltender prospect right now, one of the best in the league. In 5 starts this season, he has a .908 save percentage, a .222 goals against average, and 1 shutout. I think the big thing here with Kochetkov is, even if he's not the best goalie in the world, he's still playing for the best defensive team right now in the NHL. Carolina right now, a 62% on-ice Corsi for percentage, first in the NHL, a 58% shots for percentage, second in the NHL, and a 60.84% scoring chances for percentage, first in the NHL. They have some of the best possession metrics in the entire league right now, and I want to be owning goalies on teams with these metrics. So Kochetkov is definitely an own in 12 plus team leagues if he's available. Finally, guys, to round out this video, I did get a comment on the last must-add players saying, what about the players that are in 8-team leagues? Jake Debrusk of the Boston Bruins is still under 65% owned at 63% over on Yahoo. He is right wing and left wing eligible. One of my sleeper calls going into this season, and he has been an absolute beast. So at one point, he was moved down to the second line with Taylor Hall and David Krejci, but he looks to be back up with Marchand and Bergeron. I have a friend that is a very diehard Bruins fan and said that Jake Debrusk has been so good for the Bruins this year. So he is on power play 1. I went to look. He is averaging 3 minutes and 18 seconds of power play time on ice per game right now, which is 5th amongst all Bruins players. David Krejci seems to be down in that power play 2 role right now. I'm not entirely sure if Debrusk is going to stick here, but for the last few games, he has been playing on the top power play unit. Now, he is at a 10 shots per 60 rate, 5-on-5, a career high for Debrusk, a 12.1 shots per 60 rate, which is 14th amongst forwards right now. But his on-ice numbers are just insane right now. A 1.62 individual expected goals for per 60, 9th amongst forwards, and 8.06 individual high danger chances for per 60, 7th best amongst forwards. So Jake Debrusk in himself on the ice is creating a ton of scoring chances, and ultimately this is just going to lead to a bunch of goals, not only from him, but from his line mates as well. And this Bruins team has been so good. You know, I'm a huge fan of players that are just on very well-rounded teams near the top of the league. Debrusk is in a very good top-line role, top power play unit, playing 17 plus minutes per night on this great Bruins team. I want to be owning Jake Debrusk in all of my leagues, regardless of how many teams are in it. Maybe 6-team leagues, I probably wouldn't own him, but 8+ team leagues, I would be looking to own Jake Debrusk. That'll do it for the Week 8 must-add players video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.